What's up, brew tubers? So, I got some good stuff to try here and I'm very excited about it. This is from Little Face Brewing. Little Face Brewing, we know the pours. I'm not sure which pour did this, but it looks to be Maple Donuts Porter, 6.8% ABV. That's right up my alley. I've got my local homebrew shop glass. It's, it cut off the top for some reason. Sorry, Derek. And that should fit this entire beer. Boy, this thing is filled to the brim. Man, I like porters, I like maple, and I like donuts. So this should kick ass. And this is the perfect glass for it too. Oh yeah, this is I'm at a pub in the Dean's Pub. Perfect beer for a pub, for an English pub. You ever seen my phone booth in the corner? All right, this is beautiful. It's crystal clear, and it's a awesome color. You can kind of get ruby notes all through it. Yeah, it looks really nice. It looks almost like a nitro, doesn't it? Look at that head. Look at that head. That's really pretty. This just looks like I'm in an English pub. This is perfect for the style. I'm not getting anything on the nose, although I just drank an IPA, so maybe that's why. But cheers, Mary and Steven, whichever one brewed this. Cheers to the brewer. That is glorious. Now, I don't know. I mean, I can definitely taste the maple. The dark malts in here were done just right, so that it's you got nice color, you got that kind of rich, complex kind of malt backbone, but you don't get the harshness. So it's not like an imperial stout or a stout. It's porter. You get the color, you get some of the nice rich flavor, but you don't get the back end harshness that you get with a stout. Porter was like the poor man's beer, right? It was like almost like second, third runnings of stouts or something, imperial stouts. And I think I read one time in London, they had this huge, big ass like vat of porter that was under pressure or something. It exploded. It was like when they were in wooden tanks, and it just flooded the streets. Like there was like porter draining down the streets into the Thames, and you had the dudes out there with their cups, like whatever vessel they could find, like this. I mean, because apparently it was like thousands of gallons, or something crazy. I could be like exaggerating. I'll have to go look it up now and see how badly I blew this out of proportion. But those dudes out in the streets, like trying to bucket up the porter as it was flowing down the drains into the Thames. Yeah, I kind of think of that story when I drink this, because this just reminds me, drinking this, and Stephen and Mary, I've been to London many times, and one of my favorite things, there's this, I think, not only London, I've been to this place called Bath in England, which is an awesome place. They had this one pub that looked like Yoda's house. Remember Yoda's house on the Dagobah system? And Luke had to like duck down, and it was like this cave, like rounded ceilings, and well, this pub looked like that. You walked in, and it looked like you were in Yoda's house, and all the taps had the little beer engines, and and I forget what I had, but it was awesome. But there were like old dudes in there with their cool caps, and they were in the sweaters, and they had their walking sticks, and they were drinking a beer like a porter. All of them are there drinking porters. And this takes me back to that moment. You know how beers are like nostalgic? You drink a beer and it takes you back to a moment in your past. It's kind of the cool magic thing about beer. This does that for me. This takes me back to, what year was that? 2007, when I was it 2007? Yeah, and I was in Bath, England, and went to this really cool pub, and we were drinking porters. Man, this is beautiful. Now, it's a maple donut porter. So if I was going to make a maple donut porter, I would do two things. or one of two things. Obviously I would dump some maple syrup in there. I would probably put some maple syrup in the boil, which kind of gives it a dried out character, which would be good for a porter, which I'm sure you did. And then I would put some maple syrup in the secondary or at the very end of the boil, because you don't want to burn off all of the essence of the maple. And that allows you to kind of carry over and get that maple flavor. I can get it in the aroma and I can get it in the flavor, so I know you did that. If you didn't put it in the secondary, you definitely put it in, a lot of it towards the end of the boil. So I can tell that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so. The second thing is, if I want to give the essence of a donut, I can either throw donuts in there, and I don't know how I would do that. I don't think you did that, because I don't think it would, unless this thing has been sitting in the keg for a while and cleared up, but I don't see any particulates floating around in here, even though it's dark. So I don't think you did that. If I was to try to mimic a donut, I might use vanilla, right? Maybe put some vanilla in the dry hop, some vanilla beans, or maybe some vanilla extract or something. That's the only way I can think of that I could mimic donuts. Or maybe you just threw some donuts in the boil or in the dry hop. Maybe you did that. Knowing the pores, knowing Steven, I would imagine that's probably what you did. You're like, you're kind of the mad scientist, and which is cool. I love that about you. I've seen you brew with, like, you know, lava hot rocks with Josh Hoover before. So I know you got that innovative kind of spirit. So maybe that's what you did. I don't know, but whatever you did, it does taste like a maple donut, or maple icing, you know, donut. I can see that. It's slight. I mean, it's essence. It's not like you drink it and, oh my God, it smacks you in the face. Like, I've had some imperial stouts that had like bacon that was like, holy shit, this is liquid bacon. I mean, it's not like that. It's like an essence, which I think is probably what you're shooting for. And knowing Steven, I've had other times when I've seen him pontificate or philosophize on certain brewing aspects. One that I remember with him is that he likes when you use bourbon in a beer. It's not like bourbon that has beer in it. It's beer that has a touch of bourbon, and the bourbon gives you a little bit of complexity, just enough so that you know it's there. He's a big fan of that. So if knowing that about Steven, I would think that's what he did with this. Everything else, like the for a porter, the appearance is spot on. The carbonation is spot on. It's kind of low medium, and the mouthfeel is like perfect. It's on the low end of medium. You know, kind of, you know, I'm not watery. Not, you know, it's about where a porter should be. Yeah, this is I had a beer I called a perfect porter one time. I think this is like a perfect porter. This is really nice. And I'm gonna be sipping this on the rest of the night. God, it's really good. Ton of flavor. Ton of flavor. I don't get as much on the nose. I'm just not smelling much today. But once you kind of drink it and smell it, you can get all the maple stuff. So anyway, thank you for the porter. I've got some other beers from the pours to sample, and I will do that. Not as fast as I would normally, because I got some other things going on, but definitely want to do this one because I saw this beer come in, and it was very fascinating to me. So, and he sent me another thing, which is like a bottle of some whiskey, which, oh, let me show that. Oh, look at that. I haven't tried this yet. Dare I try this on camera for the first time? And then Heather hasn't had it yet either, and she loves her some whiskey, definitely bourbon. This I think is 80 proof, and it is peated. Is it rye whiskey? Yeah, peated rye whiskey. I think I might be able to try a little bit of this. It'll be a twofer. Oh, I need a shot glass or something. Do I have a shot glass? Let me get a glass. Oh, here we go. Ooh. Okay. Can't be a big shot. Can't be a big pour. Ooh, nice smell. Or nice pop. The cork. There. I'll go that much. You can kind of get a good, look how pretty that is, right? Oh, that smells good. weird. When I put the cork back in, I could hear it going shh, like air was trying to escape. Oh, that's wild. It sounded like carbonation. Man, that's good because we have some Johnny O too. Now I've got two. This is wild. I've got moonshine, I've got Johnny O, and I've got this peated malt whiskey. Which you need to come up with a name for this, Steve. It's 80 proof. So let's go in for a sample of this. Wow, this is like a twofer. Maybe I should drop it and do like a, That is really nice. It's very smooth. You get the peated, I've had peat, peat Scotch, single malt Scotch. I think it's Isla. Isla is the island that has a lot of peat in the streams, and they make single malt Scotch. So I've had that before. I've had some international friends that were big on like the peat single malt Scotch. I'm not a big fan of Scotch, honestly. It's just not my thing. But hate all you Scotch fans. Sorry about that. But I am a big fan of whiskey, bourbon especially. But this is very smooth. I get the peat kind of quality and the smell, and I get it on the back end of the flavor. But the cool thing is, from the beginning to the middle to the end of the flavor is this nice sweetness of I don't know if that's the rye and the whatever. It's this beautiful mash kind of flavor. It's really nice, very smooth. Heather is gonna love this. Maybe I'll bust this out on her on Friday and let her, what's that, 2 days from now? Let her get the little pink tint she gets across her face. Thank you so much. And it's a cool whiskey bottle too. That is like awesome. You need to make some custom-made like Little Face Brewing labels and come up with a cool, sexy name for this, because this deserves a kick-ass name. It deserves a sexy name. And look how beautiful that is. I mean, look how clear that is. Anyway, all right. Cheers. Wow, I've eaten up. Now, this is almost like a Homebrew Wednesday. I did a Homebrew Wednesday, but I didn't release it. So maybe I need to go back and do that too. So anyway, all right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for the porter. I'm going to sip on the rest of this while I watch some Justified. Cheers.